Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Heroes of the Storm commentary. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys a couple things real fast before I get to the topic of conversation, and then what I'll probably do is maybe cut to a little bit of footage so you guys have a match to watch or something while I talk about the topic at hand, and that's going to be Stimpacks. So before I get to that, just going to show off something really quick because this is really tiny, not something even worth putting another video on, so I'm just going to show it here. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'd like to show off what really happens here when you hit level 10 with a character and you get these golden portraits around said characters, and of course you get the option of buying the master skin once you get that. If you're wondering what it looks like in your character list, there it is. You get a little thing around your portrait to show that off, and when you look at other people's accounts you see the same thing. Alright, that was real quick. This is the topic at hand. This is the Stimpacks. You have a 7-day Stimpack and you've got a 30-day Stimpack. Price of the 7-day is about $4. Price of the 30-day is about $10. So really, you're getting a terrible bargain. If you get a 7-day Stimpack, it's not a good idea. I mean, you're looking at 40% of the price for, a quarter of. Yeah, it's not a good idea. If you're going to get a Stimpack, get a 30-day. So what do these do? Well, they increase your experience gain and your gold gain. The experience you get is at 100%. The gold gain is 150%. So if you get 100,000 experience, you get 200,000 experience with a booster pack. If you get 100 gold, then you get 250 gold with this Stimpack. Now, the thing to keep in mind is this is only for rewards that you get at the end of a match, and it doesn't include things like dailies or any kind of quests or milestones. So like if you get the 500 gold for leveling up a character up to level 5, if you get that, that doesn't get increased by a Stimpack. So it's only through match rewards. I've played with it for a bit. As you can probably see from the description, I've used about half of one of my Stimpacks. You can buy the periods of time, as you saw, about a week or a month. They never pause. They just keep ticking down. So if you buy one and you don't use it, well, you lose it. It's essentially like buying a subscription to, say, World of Warcraft. And the price for the subscription, 30 days, is really not terrible. It's about $10 for a 30-day Stimpack. So if you don't mind paying $14 for an MMO, question is, do you mind spending $10 a month for a MOBA type game? And I've thought about this, and I've been thinking about this at length, and been putting this off because I really don't have a solid answer here. As it is, I'm already paying for a MMO subscription. It's not WoW, it's Final Fantasy. And I haven't been playing it a lot, but I don't want to get rid of it because every now and then I do hop on. And in truth, that is kind of a waste of the $14 a month that I put into it. But I play this game a lot, so you would think that I shouldn't be unhappy spending maybe $10 a month on this. Maybe I could even get rid of my other subscription and go into this. I think my problem is it feels almost too good. I don't mind, like, a lot of these Stimpacks, a lot of these types of boost purchases are the same throughout many of these free-to-play games. They're usually about double. They're basically there to pay for time convenience. But the problem I have is it feels like you're really not earning enough rewards if you're not paying for a Stimpack. And I think that's really a shame. And I think a lot of that comes down to what you have to spend your money on and how much money you need compared to the generation you're getting. A lot of the good heroes are going out for 10,000 gold. There have been some other hero options that were less. And so this is where I'm not really sure how to think of this, because we've got a few heroes that are only worth 2,000 gold. So, okay, that's great. That means it doesn't take too long to buy one of those. And then there's some that are 4,000, and then some that are 10. Well, there's a lot more. There's becoming more and more 10,000 gold heroes. Every single new hero that's come out has started at 15,000, no less. Alright, so a new hero comes out, 15,000. This is kind of like what old SMITE used to do. I don't know if they still do it because I haven't seen a new god come out in SMITE. Because I haven't been playing it. I haven't been looking at the prices. But they would release a god in their game And for the first, well, it depends. They usually leave the price high until another new character came out, and then they would lower the price of the previous new character. And over time, they would sometimes drop the prices of other characters in their game as well. Well, with this game, we're still in alpha. I don't really know what kind of schedule we're looking at for, are certain heroes going to be reduced in price? Because as it is, every new one that comes out is going to start at 15, then it's going to drop to 10. And then there's going to be a whole saturation of heroes that cost 10,000 gold. There's only so many 2,000s and 4,000s to buy up before you're going to start needing a lot of gold. And at the same time, when you reach level 10, you can buy a master skin. And that's usually only suggested for people that spend a lot of time. As a matter of fact, getting to level 10 is a little bit tedious, especially if you don't have a Stimpack. So chances are, if you're not buying Stimpacks or buying acceleration, you're probably not going to touch the master skins, but maybe you do want one. That's a lot of gold. And you can only get those master skins with gold. You can't buy those with your Blizzard bucks or your Battle.net funds. You have to buy those with gold. So really the only way to speed up getting those is with Stimpacks. And I thought about, I kind of calculated it out, the time it takes, roughly, to get a new hero in this game for a 10,000 gold hero is roughly 3 weeks. And I used to think, that's not too bad. That's roughly a month. And if they release a new hero or champion every month, then you're looking pretty good. Except for the new ones are usually about 15, so you might be pushing it there. Maybe you just wait until, maybe you don't get the newest hero, but you get one back, so you hold back a month, so you're always buying one at 10,000. That might work. It might be worthwhile. But I just think, to me, it just feels like the generation without one of these things is not high enough. Especially since we're looking at a booster pack giving you 150%. Not just double, it's 150%. That equates to roughly 50 gold for a loss and 75 gold for a victory. It's a huge difference. So I think to myself, well, what could they do? I mean, how could they really make this feel better, more enticing? Well, there's a couple things I'm thinking about. Maybe reducing the price of the Stimpack. That would be kind of nice. I mean, it's not that much less expensive than one of their subscriptions as it is. It would be nice to maybe see it brought down a little bit. If not that, maybe I think really the big thing would be to increase the gains for gold and maybe even experience, because even experience feels a bit tough to come by without booster packs. Maybe increase the experience a little bit. I'm not asking for a lot here, but I feel right now with a booster pack, I feel like the matches that I play are more worthwhile. And I don't even mind as much when I lose comparatively, just because a lot of my matches end up coming into loss. Many factors come into play on that one. A lot of it is the matchmaking really has still issues right now. There are some really seriously unbalanced teams. And I'm not just talking about skill. I'm talking about the types of players you get put against. Teams where you can fight enemy teams that have multiple healers and your team have none, and it's really difficult to deal with. As a matter of fact, I would like to see them do something, again, I mentioned SMITE, something like SMITE has done where they balance out healers. If the enemy team has a healer, you should be guaranteed a healer. And if they have 2 healers, you should get 2 healers. That's kind of hard to do, but I think that is probably the only way to really balance that, because it's kind of hard. Healers are very strong and can be very destabilizing in a public game environment. It might be a different thing in a pre-made, but in a public game where you're queuing solo, it can be a huge issue. So that's a big thing, is the matches are not at the best point where they could be right now. And so if you're losing a lot, you're not getting a lot of gold. So I really think the gold gains for a free-to-player should be brought up. Maybe, and maybe reduce the amount of gold. Maybe bring it down to 100% on a booster pack. But bring it up so that people that aren't really paying for it are still getting something and enticed to play. And you might be thinking, well, why should we be giving something to someone that's not willing to pay for the game? Well, I submit to you this. You need a player base to make these games fun. Okay? Without a large player base, you're going to have very one-sided matches, because you're going to have basically the people who are playing. The only people that are playing are going to be really people that have been playing for a while that want to play, maybe have already put money into it. The people that are playing for free probably won't play for very long if they don't feel they can get anything out of it. And so your player pool diminishes, and then your matches become one-sided. Not only that, but the people that are playing for free, maybe that's someone that does want to pay money into the game. But what if they get discouraged because every match they have is against a superior team just because they've spent so much time into it? I mean, as it is right now, I've been seeing wild discrepancies between the skills between teams. On my team once, keeping in mind that I am a level 40 player account, most of my team was in, I believe I had some level 13s, a level 7, something like that. The enemy team had 2 level 40s. Now keep in mind, I am 40, so that compensates for 1, but there were 2. And the match was exceptionally one-sided. That's the thing. That's the kind of stuff you're going to see happen without a large player pool. And so even for the people that are playing a lot, you want to have a lot of these people playing, because you want them to be encouraged to play, because then they may put money into the system. I also submit this. When it comes to buying characters, I find this is why I've had a hard time making this and wanting to make this video, because it's been very difficult for me to really grasp where my thoughts are on this, because it's one of those things where I don't entirely like it, but at the same time, I can't fault Blizzard for the way they're doing it. But I look at the only games that I've ever played of this genre, really, are SMITE and Heroes of the Storm. And SMITE, there was for a time a beta god pack that you could pay for like $30 and get all the champions. And that was it. There were a few things you could spend the in-game currency on, mostly just recolors, but none of the fancy skins, none of the voice packs, which I think is a mistake still. But you at least had everything unlocked at your disposal. And so, to me, that allowed me to play for a very long time, because I had many, many characters to choose from. Every match was a little bit different because of it. And it had a lot of replay value to me. Heroes of the Storm doesn't let you buy them all outright. So it's not that I don't think I'd be willing to put money into it, it's just like I have to be concerned about where my money is going. I would just like to buy the characters and maybe have something worth building up to use my gold on. Maybe build up to try and get as many master skins as possible. The only other games that I can think of off the top of my head, obviously, would be the 2 big ones, and that would be DOTA and League of Legends. And I know DOTA gives all the characters they have for free. No purchase required. But that's Valve. They can get away with that. But even then, what if they made it so that you only bought the game and then you got all the characters? Everything else, all the microtransactions are cosmetic. I don't exactly know how League works, but from every League player I've heard from when I read the forums, pretty much say that the in-game currency generation is faster and you're able to unlock more characters more often in that game. But, to be fair, League of Legends has a lot of characters in it. So it's really hard to say that that's a good one-to-one comparison. But I look at SMITE, and as of right now, they've got about 61 characters. So that's an exceptional value for 30 to 40 bucks to just buy the game. If I went 3 or 4 months, maybe paying this $10 every month for a 30-day Stimpack, yeah, I probably could unlock everything. But I'd have to do it over time. So there's that. And then I'd still have to unlock everything down the line. It's a tough thing, because right now there's not they're still adding characters. They still need to add characters, because I really think that the game is good, but I think it could use a little bit more variety in some of the heroes that they have. And they're doing a really good job of that right now. We've seen some really great ideas, especially with the advent of the Lost Vikings, which aren't out yet, but it's going to be a 3-for-1 hero where you can micromanage 3 different characters in one. So they're doing a really great job when it comes to unique characters. It's a very difficult conversation for me, because for me, I have odd balances of time. When I work, I don't have a lot of time to do things. So if I'm going to play the game, I may only play it once or twice in that day, because I have to go to bed pretty quickly to be up for the next shift. When I'm off, I have a lot of free time, and I have been known to play this game very frequently. And I put a lot of hours into this game. And until I got one of these Stimpacks, I felt like the time I've been spending, the time I've been putting into this game, just didn't feel like it was very much worth it. Now you might argue that, well, every hero will give you 500 gold if you get him up to level 5. Well, that's true, but I've got almost every character at level 5 at this point. You run out of it. You will run out of that. And then, without that, because that factored into my equations for the 3 months to get the 3 weeks to get a new character, that kind of factored in with the assuming you would get 500 gold a week, getting a character up to level 5. That will bring it down, so it might take 4 weeks. And that's assuming you're playing every day for a couple hours. I don't have a perfect answer here, but I feel like it may just take a little bit too long to get some of this in-game currency here in Heroes of the Storm. It would be nice if they increased the amount of gold we get, and it would be nice if they maybe lowered the price just a tiny bit of the Stimpack. But I can understand if they don't, because really $10 for a month, not huge. But I think they can maybe get away with maybe making it 8, maybe. Something like that. Again, that's just numbers off the top of my head. I have no like statistical basis on that. I don't have any kind of I haven't been doing a ton of research into the other games on how they do theirs. I just think that a couple number tweaks here and there, they could get away with it. And I've mentioned it before because about they've got a lot of Blizzard now has a couple free-to-play games. They've got the Hearthstone and they've got this. So they've got a couple really good sources of revenue right now. If anything, I think Blizzard could get away with making prices fairly cheap. I mean, think about it. They're still making a ton of money on World of Warcraft, which people are not only putting monthly subscriptions into, but are also paying microtransactions for pets and mounts. So now they've got a card game, a collectible card game that they're getting a bunch of money on, and now a MOBA style game that, even though it doesn't have a lot of people in it, is going to be going into closed beta here in January, and possibly opening up not that long after that. Maybe I don't see it taking that long, because the game is already doing really well and has. I haven't seen a lot of changes to the game, the base game mechanics. So to me, it feels like once they go closed beta, they're going to open that beta up pretty quickly. I think Blizzard is at this point, with the amount of money that they're kind of making on these projects, they could be a little bit like Valve, in that they are drawing people to Battle.net through these free-to-play processes and possibly giving out other games. And keep in mind, we've got Overwatch eventually coming out, and we don't even know how that's going to play out. At this point, I honestly hope it's not free-to-play. I've tried a lot of various free-to-play games at this point. And at first, I really liked the model because it meant I could go out and try a new game without having to pay for it. But then it became kind of a chore, because then I would find these games that are kind of neat, but then I would hate their model. I kind of cite Neverwinter, which I really enjoyed. But I did not like their practices as far as the money. Now, I haven't played that game in a long time, so it could very well be different now. Probably isn't, but it could be. So don't take that as gospel from me, but that is what I felt when I played it. So what is the answer? Well, I would like to ask you guys what you think. I would love to get your opinions on this, because it's swirling in my head right now. And I'm just greatly of two minds here. I'm for it and against it simultaneously, and I really think the best thing is some kind of middle ground. I really, really think that the generation just needs, either the generation needs to go up or the cost of things needs to start coming down somewhere, is really my thoughts. Because at this point, even with this Stimpack, I only own 2 heroes. To be perfectly fair, yes, I did buy a master skin. But with the amount of time I've been putting in, now granted we did go through this reset, which kind of cleared progress, but part of the old progress was we used to get gold rewards for character levels. Somewhere along 5,000 gold every 5 levels once we started getting to level 30. So you got about 10,000 gold for free there. That may not be a bad idea to go back to, because right now there is no reason to level up your account. Except for the new systems that they'll be bringing in. They'll be bringing in ranked play. But the problem is, in order to participate in ranked play, you need to be something along the lines of level 30, and then to participate in a 5-man group, or a pre-made group, part of a team, right? If you want to actually be part of a team that's got a roster and with some backups and things like that, you need to be 40. Okay, that's all well and good, but what are you doing with those levels in between? As of right now, the only rewards go up to level 15. And then nothing. I think taking out the gold rewards for leveling the account was a bad idea. And if they don't want to do that, then I think they should probably just bring the levels down. There's no reason to have 40 levels if you're not doing anything with them. It makes no sense to me. And that, I think, is a great idea, because if you put in gold for those levels again, like they used to do, that allows a person to buy a stock of characters that they like. Like they may know for sure, I want to buy these 2 heroes. And with the gold that they have from leveling their account, they could do that. And then slowly work over time to buy everything else. It makes sense to let your players buy, even if it's only a handful of characters, something to start off with as a springboard to make them want to play more. And then they don't have to be at the mercy of the free-to-play rotation, because sometimes the rotation is not great. That's subjective. That's totally subjective. But there have been some rotations that I didn't care for any of the characters they gave me. So that's my thoughts. That's me on Stimpacks. I guess to break it down to the short of it, I don't think it's a bad idea. Many of these games do it. I think they need to adjust the numbers. As for anything else, or maybe what numbers you guys think that should be adjusted, I would love to hear from you. I would love to see what you guys think in the comment section. I would like to know, especially from anyone that's played any of the other MOBAs. Now, I'm not just talking about Dota and League. I know those are the big ones, but I know there's others out there. And I would like to know, from the perspective of other players for other games, what you think of the gold generation here, and how it feels to change characters. Now, I understand that many of you probably don't have access to really see it firsthand, but maybe if you look at, like, not just my footage, but maybe footage from other people at how much they get and how often they play, to see how often they could buy heroes, you know, look into that, maybe check out some of the forums to get a little bit more opinion, get a little bit more on information for your opinion first, but that's fine. But just offhand, what you think of it, I would love to know, because I'd like to know outside of my little box, because my little box again is SMITE and Heroes of the Storm, and they're very different games, really, in the way they play and in their pricing models. All right, High Res Studios has a lot of stuff that I don't like them for. So while I praise them for that massive God Pack, there are other things I don't like about the way they do business. The same way why I'm not entirely happy with the way Blizzard is doing some of these things. But that's my microcosm. I'd like to know what you guys think. So before I ramble on any further, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I'll be looking towards everyone's responses I do read, and I'll see about responding when I can. So, ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for watching.